Alright, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be just more of a transformation kind of a project. We're going to put a little body lift on it, and then this bumper, let me see if I can get you a better shot. This bumper's pretty beat up. We're going to get started. We're going to get this bumper pulled off and start tearing down this engine so we can get this body lift put on. These are all the parts that came in the body lift. I took them out of the box, but I haven't unwrapped them yet. It's from 4x4parts.com. So far, these are the best instructions I've seen. So we're going to see how good this really is. Like I said, if you've seen other videos of mine, this is by far the best instructions I've gotten so far. So let's get set up. I'm just going to pull the bumper and start pulling parts. Alright, now that that's off, we'll start the body lift. Battery cable, airbag fuse, airbox, steering shaft. That might need a little replacement. Look at all the moisture in that thing. Lots of blow by, but that's not good. It's not good either. Let's see. It said steering shaft. That should slide just fine. I'm going to leave that steering shaft on. Drain the radiator. Alright, I don't see a drain. I'm going to get stuff set up and pull that lower hose off. Yeah, that was pretty much water. There's quite a bit of just crap in there, if you guys can see that. Alright, it says remove the heater hoses, but they look like they'll have plenty of room. We'll tackle that if we need to. That one might actually be loose already. Gotta take those two bolts out here. Okay, we gotta disconnect this. And then we'll have to remount that. We'll tackle that when we get it back together. Power steering, vacuum line guard. Okay, let's go down here. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. It just says make sure there's room for all this to move, which I think there's going to be. Pull this out and save that just in case. Alright, it says to move the front bumper. Gone. We have to remove these panel clips. Oh, that one's already loose. That was easy. Turn the light on. Done. Done. Okay, well it says to, sorry about that. It says to remove transfer case shifter. It doesn't say from underneath or above, but this already has an issue with this. So I think I'm gonna go and tear all this out real quick. It's not too bad. There's 2 screws back here. This one is either already undone or it's missing them, or I don't know. Then this should have a couple screws. There's one up there on each side. I'm gonna get all this pulled, and then I'll see what it meant by remove transfer case shifter, because this was a manual. I had to do something also, but being automatic, I think it's just cable. So I'm gonna get this done. All right, got that removed. I didn't pull this all the way off. I couldn't get that knob off right now, and couldn't find my strap wrench. Got this disconnected. For some reason it says to remove it, but it's not touching the body at all. So I'm just gonna leave that just like that. It did say eventually to remove the center console piece. Let's see. I'm gonna have to get this rear bumper off. Okay, take this bumper off. These side skirts come off, 2 screws. There's a couple screws back in here. And you got, looks like 3 on each side. I haven't gotten this side here off yet. Rear wheel well. Okay, so we gotta take the tire off, and we gotta remove the 2 rear seat bases from the floor. All right, gotta move this, get this plastic thing out of the way. And then it says to remove these 2 seats. Pretty easy. There's little pull tabs down here. Down. These 2 here. And it says to pull the carpet back like that. But we'll get this seat out. Here. Right here is a plastic plug here. There's a plastic plug there. But it says to break these plastic pieces. Right here is that plastic deal, and they do not want to come out. Careful. Okay, well it says to break them and discard them, as they don't come out very easy. So there's 1 bolt. I believe under this carpet is going to be another bolt. Yeah, yep, there's another plastic. Alright, it says to loosen all 10 body bolts. So there's 1 here, 1 here, 1 down there, 1 in here, and then there 1 down here. And then it says remove 5 from the passenger. So I'm just going to remove the 5 in the passenger, loosen up the driver. And then, oh, and we have to disconnect the filler and vent gas lines. So back here we'll remove that plastic piece. Probably right here is where they're talking. So I'm just going to get this sprayed down with some lube, since those clamps look awful. I'll probably break them in the meantime. But this is what we have to extend. This one, it says that you can reroute it a little bit longer, so maybe we don't have to disconnect that. This one we for sure have to. Alright, parts that we saw at the beginning of this, it did not open. Let me get a knife. Bracket. your 10 new, wait, 10? Those are different, those are different. Huh. Okay. And those. Okay. I think that's for lowering the radiator back down. Looks like we extend our fuel line with exhaust pipe. Oh good, they give you clamps because you know I'm going to break those, or at least that one. Miscellaneous bolts. This might be to extend a shifter if it's manual. Square tubing. And maybe washers for that. Alright, I went ahead and got the bolts removed. This is the rear one, which I'm assuming is going to be this. It's a little thicker. Haven't figured out these two skinny ones. Oh no, that's right. The two skinny ones replace this. What is this, the middle? Yeah, the middle body mount. And then we have to put this, the two big washers have to return, and then there's three of these for the nuts and bolts. I went ahead and jacked up so you can get a view on how much it's actually going to lift. 2 inches, actually going to be a little bit more than I expected. Nicest part about it, this step, you'll actually be able to get a foot on, because before you barely could even slide your foot on this, and it's supposed to be a step. So with that 2 inches, it's going to be quite a difference for us to be able to actually step on that and get in the vehicle once the bigger tires are put on. So I'm going to go ahead and get the bolts on this side, get this side jacked up, bolts on it. All right, working on this body lift, getting it all tightened up and getting the bolts in, and I went back to the instructions. Instructions say that I'm supposed to have lock washers and all kinds of stuff. I didn't get any of that. This is kind of the pile of stuff I have left over here. And then it says install outside support extension brackets. I'm assuming they mean these here, but I don't know where they go. Outside extension brackets. I have no idea. One more other thing, since I'm already complaining. They give you this piece of exhaust for the filler, which is the exact size of the rubber. But if you look down it, this pipe's not small enough. So I'm gonna dig through my scrap to see if I can find the, oh wait. I don't like how thick this one is, because it'll slow down. It might actually even bottleneck when you're starting to fill. Here, let's see here. That one will work. I don't like I like how thin this is, because it won't obstruct the fuel part of it. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to expand this enough. I mean, that's a heck of a gap to try and pry on there. Okay, so after reading all of the instructions, these blocks are for the radiator. These pieces are for the driveline hoop that we're not reinstalling. I did have to go get a different pipe. It measured out to be 1 3/8 OD locally. It's about the only pipe I could find at all the parts stores. This does fit well. Fits right inside. Nice and snug, no fighting. If you're gonna do one of these body lifts, get yourself some of these plastic clips because you're gonna break every one of them. But you will need a bunch of these. I just ordered mine on Amazon. This multi-kit comes in little tiers. I had another one in here just in case, but didn't need those. Also, I mean, it would be cool if people supplied this stuff with their body lift. Also, maybe a third hose clamp. Just a suggestion. That way you'd save yourself some trips. That's that's what it looks like when it's all done. It really doesn't take a full 2 inches. There's a lot of play in this, so that's what that looks like. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get that reinstalled and go over the inside. All right, before I go in the inside, let's go over this bracket. This will take the place of that. So we need to cut, let's see here, center that up. That's good enough. And then I'm just going to cut a little bigger. Well, maybe I'll cut like an angle here so it's not sharp. Both sides. And here, let me turn the light on. I don't think that helped. So down here I'll cut at an angle. And then we got to cut this flush all the way across. This piece here will self-tap up underneath, and this piece will be flush. Right? Yep, just like that. So it'll sit in there and line up with those holes perfect. Got the piece cut out. I went ahead and stripped this rubber flapper thing off for now. I may put it back, I may not, I don't know. But the only 2 holes they had in this bracket lined up with these gaps here on both sides. So I'm gonna put, and there's only 2, and that holds your entire radiator. And I don't think I like that. So I'm gonna add 3 more. Now, I know that there's people out there that are way smarter than me that design this stuff, but that's just my reinsurance. This vehicle's probably going to be off-road quite a bit. Bouncing around with those 2 self-tappers. I don't personally think it's good enough, so I did more. Alright, now we got to get the radiator. It says to remove these 2 rubber deals, 1 on each side. Remove those. I guess these just, they fit over, but these have like a taper to them. It doesn't sit very good. Uh-oh. I don't want these things to bust off. I don't mind them being snug, but alright. I'm going to open this up just a little bit, see if I can get the fit better. Alright, well, I read the instructions again because it didn't make sense to me at first. So you have to position the radiator in the lower support bracket, that's fine. Remove the rubber bushings from the plastic studs on the radiator top. Okay. So I removed them. Oops. Position 2 rubber bushings in the large holes in the 2 2-inch by 2-inch by 1-inch rectangular tubes. Unless I'm missing parts, this is not those. There is no larger hole at all. They're both the same. Oh yeah, okay. Install the safety loop with 2-inch tubes. So these are, sorry my voice, these are for that. I thought maybe I read the instructions incorrect. I thought maybe these were them, but it's not. So I think I'm gonna have to call this company, 4x4parts.com, out of Florida, and find out exactly what we're missing, because I don't see it. Either or, I'm just gonna have to make it. Made the phone call. They said the reason this pipe is not the right size is because some are different. That was, I guess that was it. Some are different sizes, but they don't supply, they just supply the one. And then I guess these two that I think are supposed to be for that horseshoe piece on the drive line, he says that I can use these and just throw the rubber bushings away. But they also don't fit the radiator. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. And I kind of like the idea of using the rubber isolator just because. So I'll just transfer them to the stock bracket. And then this should bolt. Yeah, it's supposed to be like that. That doesn't even fit in there. Okay. I'm gonna fight this off camera. Okay. I took a taper ring. Ring that hole out a little bit. Fits. Now, remember I trimmed that lower piece. And it said, cut to the outside of each mounting hole approximately 1.5 to 2 inches. And then I tapered it and made it look nice. The radiator doesn't drop in. So these mounting holes are way in here, and that radiator sticks way out. So I'm gonna have to trim more into this area because that radiator doesn't sit down into these holes. I'm gonna do some trimming, and I still don't like the fit because of the little tiny pegs those have. I think there should be some sort of a rubber grommet, but there isn't. There wasn't even on the stock. These stock ones, it looks like it just sits down on top of it. So if nothing else, I'll just grab a piece of rubber, put a piece of rubber on the bottom so it doesn't wear a hole in the bottom of that radiator. Well, I got the radiator to fit, but it don't. So I put the bottom in the way it's supposed to. Of course it's loose because I think there is supposed to be some sort of a rubber mount, but it's too low for this to even catch. Catches the very tippy top of it, which, you know, then the fan shroud won't line up. And I know I follow these instructions as vague as they are and as many line items as there is. It says use a die grinder or hacksaw to cut away the stock lower radiator support from the core support. Cut to the outside of each mounting hole approximately 1.5 to 2 inches, which is false. Cut the whole thing off or your radiator won't go in there. And flush with the vertical surface of the core support, which I did. Cut it clean off. Then it says to align the lower radiator support bracket on the core support, which it doesn't say top, bottom, middle, which I'm thinking bottom because I had a flat surface to screw to, and attach it to the core support with self-tapping bolts. I feel like I got parts and pieces to different things. Like I made a comment to the gentleman when I called him on the phone about these other parts, and he didn't seem concerned. Thinking seems concerned about the fuel thing because I figured it out on my own. But if you sell a product that says it fits, says vehicle application 2000 to 2004 Xterra 2 and 4-wheel drive, auto or manual transmission, and it has a lot of instructions. And I don't like the videos that I've seen on YouTube because they don't show any difficulties. Maybe it's just my dumb luck, but I like to show people the headaches. Instructions or no instructions, no pictures, not like whatever it is, that's what I'm going to show. Because I should be able to buy a product that says it fits. I don't mind modifications and cut and whatever. But right now I think I'm going to figure it out on my own. Figure something out. Took a measurement. It's about just under an inch probably. So I took one of these IFS bump stops that I cut off that 4Runner's front end because I save a lot of crap, and they're, you know, round on top, whatever. So I trimmed it. I put a hole in it. I had to trim a little off that little nipple thing there on that, and that fits really nice, and it's a good bump stop. And I think it'll take up that gigantic hole down there if I put a washer on that. And I'll just have to screw with it a little bit to make sure the fan and fan shroud clearance is correct. So I need to make one more out of this one. Well, I call that a win. The fan shroud don't sit in there quite right because you'll have to trim that. Let me turn the light on here. I don't know if that helped or not. There's this plastic piece that comes out. There's a notch in it, but now that notch is 2 inches lower, so we're just gonna have to trim that off, which is no big deal. I have space for my fan. This will be, you know, fine bolted up like that, but. And then I have a rubber bushing down there instead of just this. Now all I gotta do is put a washer, put that nut on. I call that radiator install a success. So the inside here, everything seems to work good. The shifter all works like it should. The 4-wheel drive in low, it does just barely hit there. And that's without that extension piece, because I don't think we need it. I did just a touch of grind in there. It doesn't hold it out, doesn't inhibit it, but it does hit. But there's lots of wiggle room in that anyways. I already fit this piece on, and this cover piece, it seems to clear. I'm gonna get this all reassembled in the interior real quick. And then we have to build rear bumper brackets, I guess they are. And we'll see how ugly the tow hitch looks after this. Alright, well to start, I put a 2-inch spacer, even though I know there was probably already a gap here, but this is pretty crooked. And it almost lines up with that bolt hole. Hope you guys can't see shit. Well, that probably didn't help any either. That hole there. But the reason it's not, I'm gonna have to trim this. So I'm gonna take this in the garage and mark it. I'm gonna mark it and then take it in the garage and trim all that. Yeah, and that worked great. I used that existing hole, drilled the new one each side. I'm debating on maybe putting a big bolt in there just be safe, but I'm going to see how these side covers fit now. Well, and that's that. Looks better. These steps are actually usable now. You put your feet under. Before those steps, pretty much useless. The next video on this Xterra is going to be, we're going to put a winch bumper on this, and we're going to try and make it to where, well, the stock mounts are pretty bad. This is a crumple. So we're going to have to reinforce the whole front end. So hope you guys like this kind of video. I usually do a lot of these bolt-on things for other people, and I like to pick apart the instructions and if we got the wrong parts. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.